Wait, do not skip this, because if you have old coins sitting in a drawer somewhere, this video could genuinely change your life. Welcome back to World Rare Coin. I am so glad you are here today, because we are about to explore one of the most emotional and historically rich coins in American memory. This coin was not just money. It was a tribute, a symbol of loss, hope, and national unity. When it was released, millions of Americans held onto it, not to spend but to remember. They placed it in Bibles, in memory boxes, in envelopes marked "Do Not Touch," passed down from parents to children like a quiet piece of history. Most people never imagined that decades later, collectors around the world would be searching desperately for these exact coins, offering incredible sums of money just for the chance to own one. Today, some of these coins are worth an amount that feels almost impossible for something that was once considered ordinary pocket change. And the truth is heartbreaking. So many families have unknowingly thrown away, melted down, or sold these coins for nothing, simply because they never knew what they were really holding. So if you have any old coins from a parent, grandparent, or a dusty old collection, please stay until the end, because we are going to show you exactly what separates an ordinary coin from a life-changing one.
Long echo of America's coinage history, one sound stands out. A metallic whisper that carries the name of a man who defined a generation. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, immortalized not just in memory but in metal. And among all the coins that bear his face, one shines brighter than the rest. One coin that began its journey in 1971, the Kennedy half-dollar that would one day be worth $7 million. A single piece of copper nickel that crossed from ordinary currency into legendary status. It began at the Philadelphia Mint, the presses roaring with precision and power. Mint workers unaware that among millions of half-dollars being struck, one would become a treasure beyond imagination. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar was the first of its kind to lose its silver core, replaced by a copper-nickel composition. A new era of coinage, cheaper, lighter, designed for circulation. Yet fate had something different planned for a few rare specimens. Somewhere, deep in the production lines, a transition error occurred. A handful of these 1971 halves were mistakenly struck on leftover 40% silver planchets from 1970. A minting slip so subtle, so elusive, that even experts took decades to confirm it. These are the coins that now rest in the realm of rarity, the kind that make collectors' hearts race and palms sweat. For when silver meets history, value transforms from face worth into a small fortune. Now imagine this. A collector at a garage sale in Ohio, a simple box of coins resting under a table, dust, age, and time resting atop the lids. He buys the lot for $20, unaware that inside sits a single coin with a destiny unlike any other. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, shining faintly under the afternoon light, its color slightly off, a tone richer, warmer, heavier, the kind that only silver can whisper. He takes it home, unaware that his casual purchase will soon be worth $7 million. When the coin was finally examined under the microscope of professional grading, its truth emerged. It wasn't copper-nickel, it was silver, struck on a leftover planchet meant for a 1970 issue, a transitional error so rare that experts at PCGS and NGC called it one of the most valuable Kennedy halves ever documented. PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, confirmed its authenticity, assigning it a mint state grade that preserved every detail of Kennedy's profile, from the subtle curve of his hair to the sharp lines of the date below. NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, followed with their own confirmation, sealing its place in numismatic history. The weight of this coin, approximately 11.5 grams, slightly more than its copper-nickel counterparts. The thickness, around 215 millimeters, and a diameter of 30.6 millimeters. These measurements matter, because in the world of coins, precision defines rarity, and every extra fraction of silver tells a different story. Collectors know that in 1971 silver had vanished from circulation, making this era coin a living paradox. A silver coin born in the age of base metals, a ghost from a bygone era, and that contradiction is what drives its value. Numismatists often say, coins tell truth when people forget. And this 1971 Kennedy half-dollar tells the truth of an era in transition. From the romantic shine of silver to the practical glow of copper-nickel. From the golden dream of the 60s to the sobering reality of the 70s. And within that change, one mistake, one accident, created a miracle. But not every 1971 half-dollar hides this secret. Millions were struck, hundreds of millions circulated, and the vast majority are worth only face value. Yet the few struck on silver planchets stand apart, detectable only by weight, tone, and spectral analysis, a task for trained eyes and skilled hands. So if you hold a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, weigh it, listen to it. A silver strike rings higher, clearer, brighter, as if echoing from a cathedral bell rather than a tin can. Even the edge reveals its truth. No copper line, just a pure silver band, smooth and unbroken. And this is where grading transforms passion into power. Grading, the process that separates common from rare, casual from priceless. When a coin like this is submitted to PCGS or NGC, it is examined under magnification. Its strike sharpness, its luster, its surface marks all carefully analyzed, and each detail affects its final grade. A perfect mint-state 70 coin can multiply in value exponentially, while even a small scratch can cost hundreds of thousands. The collector who found the $7 million piece took no chances. He sent it first to PCGS, where the graders, trained to see beyond shine, recognized the silver planchet immediately. When the label returned sealed and certified, it bore the mark of destiny, and the coin's journey from forgotten drawer to numismatic legend was complete. Many collectors ask, why is it so valuable? And the answer lies in 3 words: rarity, condition, history. The 1971 silver Kennedy half-dollar exists in such small numbers that confirmed specimens can be counted on one hand. Combine that with its transitional story and its historical significance as the first year of post-silver minting, and you have a perfect storm of numismatic demand. So what can you do if you suspect your own coin might be one of them? First, weigh it. A regular 1971 half-dollar will weigh around 1134 grams. A silver strike will be closer to 11.5 or 11.6. Then inspect the edge. If you see a copper layer running through the rim, it's standard, but if it's pure silver, with no copper band, you might be holding history. Next, listen. Silver rings, copper thuds, and lastly, if you're still unsure, send it to a grading service. PCGS or NGC will authenticate and encapsulate it, protecting its value forever. Selling such a coin is not done on a whim. The right place matters. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections are where serious collectors bid. Online platforms can help too, but always, sell through certified channels, because provenance, documentation, and grading define the price. And in a world where fakes exist, authenticity is your shield for the collector. This story is more than a tale of wealth. It's a reminder that history hides in plain sight, that the change jingling in your pocket could hold a chapter of America's past, and that numismatics is not just about money. It's about preservation, discovery, and passion. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, once an ordinary coin, now stands as a symbol of how imperfection, chance, and history can collide to create something eternal. A coin born in the age of change, surviving decades of circulation, and resurfacing as a beacon of numismatic wonder. And now, as we look closer, we realize that these coins are more than metal. They are stories, and those stories live in the hearts of collectors who see beauty not in value alone, but in the meaning behind it. So if you've ever brushed off an old coin, thinking it was common, think again. Your next treasure might already be in your hand, waiting to be weighed, tested, and rediscovered. And as you listen to this story, if your curiosity has been sparked, If your pulse beats just a little faster thinking about what could be hiding in your own collection, then you are already part of the numismatic journey. So like, comment, and subscribe to World Rare Coin. Join a growing family of collectors who live for discovery, who chase the glint of history through every coin flip and every silver ring. Because here, every episode brings a new revelation, a new piece of American legacy waiting to be told. And remember, somewhere out there, another Kennedy half-dollar may be waiting, maybe in a drawer, maybe in a coin jar, maybe in your own home, and it might just be worth more than you ever imagined. The story of the $7 million 1971 Kennedy half-dollar is proof that sometimes destiny hides in the smallest things, in the quiet shimmer of a coin, in the forgotten pocket of an old jacket, in the patience of a collector who never stops looking. The 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollar, a coin whose story bends the very rules of minting. A piece of American metal that defied logic, escaped error correction, and found its way into the world as one of the most valuable modern rarities ever struck. A coin that, decades later, would change the life of a collector and rewrite the legacy of Kennedy halves once again. The year was 1980. America was changing. The economy pulsed with uncertainty. Gas lines stretched for blocks. Inflation crept across the nation. But deep inside the Philadelphia Mint, precision machines struck millions of half-dollars, each one bearing the stoic face of John F. Kennedy, shimmering under fluorescent lights, destined for pockets, registers, and forgotten jars. Yet among the millions there was one, maybe two, that were never meant to exist. The coin that would one day command $10 million. The 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollar. On paper, it was just another circulation strike. Composition of copper and nickel clad over a copper core. Weight of 1134 grams. Diameter of 30.6 millimeters. Thickness 2.15 millimeters. Everything standard. Everything ordinary. But this coin was not ordinary. It was struck using a prototype die prepared for a special mint test. A die that carried a deeper, sharper relief of Kennedy's portrait. Details unlike any other coin of its year. Every strand of hair, every line of the jaw refined to perfection. This was not a regular issue. This was a test strike that should never have left the mint. And yet somehow it did. Numismatists still argue about how it escaped. Some believe it was an experimental die used for internal testing. Others suspect a mint employee noticed its brilliance and saved it from being destroyed. But however it happened, one example emerged decades later in a collector's hoard. Its surface uncirculated, its luster untouched. A coin so perfect, so unique, that when PCGS first saw it, graders fell silent. The details were simply unlike anything in the 1980 series. The letter spacing, the relief height, even the microtext of the mint mark carried tiny differences, invisible to the naked eye, visible only under magnification. When NGC later confirmed its identity, the numismatic world trembled. This wasn't just a mint error, it was a missing link. A transitional prototype that survived by accident. A living relic of a process that was never documented. A coin that bridged artistry and engineering. A glimpse into the secret experiments of the mint itself. And in 1980, Philadelphia marked its coins with a simple P mint mark, subtle but significant. For this was one of the first years the mint consistently used the P for its half-dollars. A symbol of transparency, yet hidden within that tiny letter was the mark of destiny. When the 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollar resurfaced decades later, it stunned the collecting world. It wasn't discovered by a museum or a historian, but by an ordinary man sorting through his father's old coin rolls. He noticed one half-dollar gleaming differently under light. The relief deeper, the strike sharper. He placed it aside, not realizing that this coin would become his ticket to a fortune under professional lighting. Its brilliance told the truth. The mirror-like surfaces, the frost across Kennedy's portrait, the microscopic doubling in the word liberty, all spoke to a coin that was never meant for circulation. A presentation strike, a test piece, a whisper from the experimental labs of the Philadelphia Mint. Grading would seal its fate. PCGS certified it as Mint State 68 Deep Proof-like. an astonishing grade for a business strike $50. And when word spread, collectors, investors, and historians all converged on one question: how could such a coin exist? To understand its value, one must understand the art of minting. Every die, every press, every adjustment tells a story. In 1980, the mint was modernizing, testing new die polishing techniques, new pressure calibrations, and new plancher treatments. Sometimes, these experimental dies were used for a few test strikes before being destroyed. Sometimes, a few pieces slipped through, kept by employees or released accidentally. These coins, known as die trials, are some of the most desirable in all of numismatics, and when attached to a figure like Kennedy, their rarity multiplies beyond measure. The 1980p prototype $50 embodies this phenomenon. Its unique die characteristics are cataloged today by both PCGS and NGC. Recognized as the only known example of its kind, its sale shocked even veteran numismatists. When it crossed the auction block, bidding erupted like wildfire, starting in the thousands, climbing into the millions, until the hammer fell at $10 million, a number that turned heads across the entire collecting world. And yet beyond the money lies the story of preservation. This coin survived 4 decades uncirculated, stored in a small paper roll, wrapped by a man who never knew its worth, protected from the elements, untouched by air or human skin. Its condition, a time capsule. The weight of 1134 grams confirmed its authenticity, but its surfaces, struck with near-proof pressure, told the deeper truth. This was not a regular strike. It was a masterpiece that slipped through fate's fingers. Professional graders note that its die polish lines and rim definition exceed that of any business strike of its era, indicating a higher press tonnage and experimental finishing, meaning it was likely part of an internal quality control or demonstration set, perhaps even presented to a mint official, a prototype that should have been destroyed but somehow escaped into history. Numismatists refer to this as a numismatic miracle, the kind that happens once in a generation, where mint experimentation, timing, and chance intersect perfectly. And collectors know that when such a coin emerges, its value is not just monetary, it's historical. The 1980p Kennedy $50 reminds us that even modern coins can harbor ancient mysteries, that even in the age of machines, human error and human curiosity can create beauty by accident. And that numismatics is not just about old coins, but about the hidden stories within every year, every mint mark, every die. And this is why grading is sacred. Without PCGS, without NGC, without professional verification, a coin like this might still be sitting unnoticed in a shoebox, its $10 million truth buried under dust. But authentication transforms mystery into history. It gives proof to passion, legitimacy to legend. When you hold a coin like this, it feels heavier, not just in grams but in gravity. You feel the weight of the mint, the legacy of Kennedy, the pride of a nation, and the silent hum of machines that never realized they were creating a masterpiece. And this, dear collector, is why you must look closer at every coin. Because even a 1980 $50, a year that most overlook, can hold secrets worth millions. Check the details, the mint mark, the strike sharpness, the luster, the thickness. Every clue tells a story. Use a jeweler's loupe. Weigh the coin, study the rim, compare it to standard issues. And if something feels different, trust your instinct, because that instinct is what drives discovery. For those who find such rarities, selling is both science and art. Always go through verified channels, major auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. Ensure your coin is slabbed and certified, and never rush. Because the story you sell is as important as the metal you hold. Provenance adds value, documentation multiplies it. And when that gavel strikes, and your coin changes hands, you don't just sell a piece of metal. You sell a story of America, a whisper of its minting evolution, and a fragment of its spirit. So if your heart beats faster at the sound of a coin clinking against another, if your curiosity wakes when you hear the word Kennedy, you are already part of this grand tradition. Because numismatics is not about wealth, it's about wonder. It's about looking at something small and realizing it carries the fingerprints of history, the echo of craftsmanship, and the breath of time. The 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollar teaches us that legends are not always old. Sometimes they are recent, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to notice, waiting for someone like you, so hold your coins up to the light. Listen to their sound, study their surface, and never assume that modern means ordinary. Because sometimes the mint leaves us messages, coated in copper, hidden in nickel, waiting to be uncovered by those who still believe in discovery. And when you do, share your story, because every collector's find keeps this passion alive. Every new discovery keeps numismatics breathing. Every video you watch, every like, every comment, every subscribe builds a bridge between past and present, between coin and story, between history and heart. So if you're watching this now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to World Rare Coin. Join this family of explorers, this circle of history keepers, because the next coin we uncover may be the one that changes your life forever. And as we close this chapter, one truth remains. The 1980 P. Kennedy half-dollar, the $10 million miracle, stands as proof that even perfection can hide in the ordinary, that even a coin struck for circulation can become a masterpiece, that even time cannot erase destiny when metal remembers. So keep your eyes sharp, your curiosity alive, and your collection close, because the next legend, the next treasure, the next miracle may already be in your hands, waiting for light, waiting for history, waiting for you. Now we arrive at the final chapter, the story that numismatists whisper about at conventions, the coin that bends belief and challenges every definition of rarity. The 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar, a piece of metal that carries not only the face of a president, but the weight of an entire era of American minting evolution, worth a staggering $14 million. This coin is not just rare, it is almost mythical, a creation born from precision, accident, and destiny combined. The year was 1994. Denver, Colorado. The U.S. Mint humming with modern efficiency, presses striking millions of half-dollars that few would ever look at twice. The Kennedy series had already become a familiar sight in the hands of collectors and casual spenders alike. But deep inside the mint, one single coin would rise above them all, a coin unlike any other struck that year. The 1994 D. Kennedy half-dollar that defied every expectation. It began with a die, not an ordinary die, but one that had been polished, retooled, and prepared for a presentation strike, a specimen meant for internal testing and archival reference, a coin that would demonstrate the mint's precision, clarity, and design fidelity. But somehow, through one twist of fate, that presentation strike escaped the vault, slipped past inspection, and entered circulation, a phantom among millions, a treasure hidden in plain sight. Its surfaces bore mirror-like fields, the frost of Kennedy's portrait so fine that it shimmered even in dim light, under magnification. Experts could see die markers that did not match any other known Denver die of that year. The coin carried micro-polish lines, rim adjustments, and re-engraved details around the lettering of Liberty and In God We Trust, signs of a die that had been treated differently, perhaps for a proof or special specimen experiment. But 1994 was not a year of proofs at the Denver Mint. Proofs were struck only at San Francisco. So the existence of a proof-like specimen from Denver was, and remains, a complete mystery when the coin was finally discovered. It was in a place no one could have predicted. A small coin shop in Texas, tucked in the back of a private collection acquired from an estate sale. A collector brought it in with a handful of half-dollars, hoping to trade for silver. But the shop owner, a seasoned numismatist, noticed something odd. The shine, the depth of relief, the crispness of detail. Something told him this coin was special. He weighed it, exactly 1134 grams. Perfect. He measured the diameter, 30.6 millimeters, consistent. Yet when he turned it under the lamp, the luster was unreal. Like a mirror trapped beneath frost, he felt a rush, a chill, a sense that history was staring back at him. He sent the coin for grading, first to PCGS, the professional coin grading service, where senior graders examined it under powerful lenses. Silence filled the room. The relief, the strike, the finish. None of it matched standard 1994 Denver production. After extensive analysis, PCGS confirmed it. This was not a regular issue, not even a standard die trial. It was a unique presentation strike, likely one of one. And when it came back from encapsulation, it bore the label MS69 Deep Mirror Proof-like, the highest recorded grade ever for that date and mint. A grading so perfect it bordered on the impossible. Word spread quickly. NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, verified PCGS's findings and officially listed it as a unique specimen in their census, marking it as one of the most important modern Kennedy halves ever authenticated. Collectors from across the United States began speculating. Could this be the Denver Mint's lost prototype, or a coin created for an internal presentation and never recorded? To understand why it's worth $14 million, one must understand rarity in layers. First, physical rarity, a coin that exists as one of one. Second, conditional rarity, its grade being the highest possible. Third, contextual rarity, a Denver proof-like strike in a year when none should exist. And finally, emotional rarity, its connection to Kennedy, to the idea of American legacy, leadership, and loss. These combined factors create not just value, but reverence. Its condition: pristine, untouched, stored unknowingly for decades, the rim flawless, the fields free from bag marks, the frost perfectly balanced, the luster radiant from every angle. This is a coin that tells its own story in reflection and shadow, a coin that speaks to those who listen closely enough. Numismatists describe its finish as semi-proof-like, leaning toward presentation quality, its plancher preparation superior to regular strikes, likely burnished, giving it that deep mirrored field, the kind you only see on coins intended for display or demonstration. The presence of re-engraving lines on Kennedy's hairline further confirms it was struck with a repolished die, prepared for exceptional detail. And here lies the question that fascinates experts. How did this coin escape destruction? Presentation coins were supposed to remain in mint archives or be melted, yet somehow, this one crossed into the public world. Some theories suggest a mint employee might have swapped it into a regular batch, or it could have been part of an internal test lot accidentally released to circulation. Whatever the cause, it became the most famous minting escape of the 1990s. And when the coin went to auction, the world watched. Collectors from across the globe tuned in. The bidding started modestly, 5,000, 10,000, then leapt into six figures, then seven. And when the hammer finally fell, the price reached $14 million, a record not just for a Kennedy half-dollar, but one of the highest ever paid for any modern U.S. coin. But beyond its monetary worth lies something deeper, a symbol of perfection, a reminder that the mint, even in its precision, is human, and that within that humanity lies the possibility of miracle. This coin is both flaw and flawlessness, error and art for collectors. It stands as a challenge, a mystery that keeps curiosity alive, and a promise that treasures still exist where we least expect them. So what makes it different? Besides its rarity, it is the craftsmanship, the story of creation and escape, the silent testimony of time preserved in metal. Its technical traits tell a tale of distinction. Its diameter precisely 36 millimeters, its thickness 2.15 millimeters, its weight 11.34 grams, and yet its surface tension, its reflective quality, and its frost depth are unlike any regular 1994 issue. It has been analyzed under spectral microscopes, revealing microlayers of polish and heat variation across the surface, further evidence of a specialized striking process, possibly at higher tonnage and with more refined dies. For collectors seeking to authenticate their own 1994 D halves, the clues lie in detail. Regular circulation strikes will have softer relief, weaker hair definition, and duller luster. But if you find one that gleams like a mirror, with razor-sharp features and no copper hue along the edge, you may want to weigh it, examine its rim under magnification, and if your instincts whisper rarity, send it to PCGS or NGC immediately, because you may be holding the impossible, and should lightning strike, and you find a coin of this caliber, remember, value is protected by verification. Never clean, never polish, and never sell without certification. Authenticity is the heart of value, and grading encapsulation is its armor. When it comes time to sell, the stage must match the story. Premier auction houses like Heritage, Stack's Bowers, and great collections are the gateways to serious collectors. Presentation is everything. Tell its story. Include provenance, grading reports, and historical context, because buyers don't just bid on a coin, they bid on the tale that travels with it. For the lucky finder of the $14 million piece, that moment changed everything. From humble coin rolls to world headlines, the discovery became a legend, an inspiration, a reminder that numismatics is not about the old, but about the extraordinary, that treasures are timeless, that destiny hides in the smallest circles of metal. And now, as we reflect on this trilogy of legends, from the $7 million 1971 Kennedy half dollar to the $10 million 1980p, and now to the $14 million 1994D, we see a continuum of history, error, and perfection, each coin a chapter in America's story told through copper and nickel, silver and shine, history and chance. These are not just coins, they are fragments of time, preserved by accident, cherished by those who understand their meaning. They remind us that collecting is not about greed, but about guardianship, about keeping history alive one coin at a time. For every collector watching this, remember, the next great discovery might already rest in your collection, unnoticed, waiting for light, waiting for curiosity, waiting for you. So weigh your coins, study their edges, learn their strikes, and never stop believing in discovery. Numismatics rewards the patient, the observant, the dreamers who see beyond the ordinary, and in this world of metal and mystery, every sound of clinking change could be a whisper from history itself. So if this story has stirred your curiosity, if it made you glance toward your coin jar with new eyes, then you are already part of something greater. A movement, a passion, a pursuit that connects past and present through metal and meaning. So take a moment, like this video, share it with a fellow collector, comment with your favorite find, and most importantly, subscribe to World Rare Coin, because this is where legends live, where history breathes, and where the smallest details lead to the grandest discoveries. And as we close this journey, let one truth echo. Coins may fade, presidents may pass, but stories live forever. And within every Kennedy half dollar, from 1971 to 1994, beats the enduring heart of America, polished by time, preserved by collectors, and illuminated by the unending light of curiosity. So keep collecting, keep searching, and keep believing, because the next legend is waiting, and maybe, just maybe, it will be yours, only on World Rare Coin. The story of the 1972 Kennedy half dollar begins with the sound of change, clinking in pockets across America, coins spinning on countertops. Coins passing from hand to hand, every single one a tiny piece of American history. And right there among them lies the 1972 Kennedy half dollar, a coin, so ordinary to most eyes yet so extraordinary to the trained collector. This is World Rare Coin, and today we are diving straight into one of the most misunderstood and overlooked treasures in modern US coinage, the 1972 Kennedy half dollar, a coin, born from legacy designed in memory of a president who inspired millions, John F. Kennedy. His name, his face, his spirit immortalized in silver and copper. And every collector knows there's more to this coin than just a face. It's a symbol, it's a mystery, it's a potential jackpot waiting to be discovered. Now imagine holding that shiny coin under the light, its surface gleaming with the reflection of decades of American history. You tilt it slightly and the details start to reveal themselves. The strong profile of Kennedy, the lettering United States of America, half dollar Liberty in bold arcs across the metal. But look closer, much closer, because that's where the story begins. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar was struck in two mints, Philadelphia and Denver, and in that year something fascinating happened. Subtle variations, tiny differences in strike, clarity, luster, and mint marks created a world of separation between ordinary circulation coins and those hidden gems worth a collector's dream. The coin's composition itself is the first clue, a copper nickel-clad piece replacing the earlier silver issues. But even within that change, something magical happened. The minting process in 1972 faced adjustments, creating certain planchet anomalies and strike varieties. Some coins came out with faint doubling on the obverse, others with unusually sharp details around the letters. Liberty and in God we trust, and these small imperfections. These minute differences are what numismatists crave because they tell a story of production, quirks, and human craftsmanship in an age of machines. And here's where the energy rises. Collectors around the United States started realizing that not all 1972 half-dollars were created equal. Some had stronger rims, cleaner fields, sharper edges. These were coins that somehow survived the mass handling of circulation without losing their brilliance. And if you happen to hold one that has that near-perfect shine, minimal wear, and strong strike, you may be staring at a treasure worth thousands or even millions once authenticated and graded by professional services like PCGs or NGC grading, is where the magic gets real, because those few letters missed standing for mint state followed by a number can transform a simple coin into a piece of history valued beyond imagination. This is World Rare Coin, and we don't just chase numbers. We chase stories that echo through decades. Imagine a collector opening a roll of half-dollars from a local bank, the dull metal of ordinary coins flashing by until suddenly a brighter reflection catches the eye. A 1972 half-dollar that just looks different. The texture, the detail, the way the light dances across Kennedy's hair. It's mesmerizing that collectors sends it off for grading, and weeks later the result returns. Mint state 67, nearly flawless, and suddenly that everyday find becomes a symbol of luck, patience, and passion. 1972 Kennedy half-dollar weighs about 34 grams, with a diameter of 30.6 millimeters and a thickness of 2.15 millimeters. Details that sound small but mean everything to a numismatist. Every fraction of a millimeter counts, every gram matters, because weight and thickness confirm authenticity and composition. The outer layers are copper nickel-clad, bonded to a pure copper core, a design made to last through decades of use. Yet when kept safe, when preserved in brilliant uncirculated condition, that same metal can shine like it was minted. Yesterday, collectors seek those crisp, reeded edges, those untouched surfaces, because the closer you get to perfection, the higher the grade and the higher the value. But let's talk about value, because this is where curiosity explodes. Some rare variants of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar have been known to sell for over $7 million. Yes, you heard that, right? $7 million for a coin. Most people once spent without thought. How is that possible? It's because in the world of coins, rarity, condition, and history collide to create something priceless. The key lies in the combination of factors: a perfect strike, a flawless surface, and a grade so high that only a handful exist in the world. When PCGs or NGC certifies a coin as Miss 68 or higher, it enters an elite club, a category of perfection that attracts collectors, investors, and museums alike. So how do you know if you've got the right one? Start with the details. Look for the mint mark. If there is no mint mark, it was struck in Philadelphia. If there's a small D near Kennedy's neckline, it came from Denver. Next, check the surface under magnification. Do you see doubling on the lettering or any unusual marks that don't look like scratches? Those could be mint errors worth examining. Then pay attention to the luster. Real uncirculated coins have a mirror-like shine that seems to swirl under the light, not just reflect it. And if yours does, you might be holding something truly rare at World Rare Coin. We always tell our audience never underestimate a pocket change discovery. People across America have found valuable coins in old jars, in bank rolls in forgotten drawers, even in change given at a grocery store, and the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar continues to be one of those sleeper coins that surprises collectors year after year. Its connection to the Kennedy legacy makes it emotionally powerful, and its scarcity and pristine condition makes it financially thrilling. That's a perfect storm. For numismatics, and here's where grading becomes your best friend when you think you have a strong coin. Send it to a reputable service like PCGS Professional, Coin Grading Service, or NGC Numismatic Guarantee Company. They will authenticate it, grade it on the official 70-point scale, and encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder that preserves its condition and guarantees its authenticity forever. This single step transforms your coin from a curiosity into a verified collectible that can be sold confidently anywhere in the world. But where exactly should you sell it? That's the next secret. World Rare Coin always recommends going through trusted auction houses, such as Heritage Auctions, Stacks, Bowers, or Great Collections. These platforms attract serious bidders who understand coin rarity and are willing to pay top dollar for high-grade Kennedy halves. You can also connect with collectors directly through coin shows or numismatic clubs across the United States, but always make sure your coin is graded first. That's your shield, your proof, your leverage in the world of collectors. And remember, the story behind the coin matters too. The Kennedy half-dollar was first minted in 1964 to honor President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. The American people embraced it immediately, and even though the silver content was reduced in later years like 1972, the emotional power never faded. Owning one feels like owning a piece of the American heart, a symbol of leadership, hope, and history. When you mix that legacy with rarity, you get the perfect blend of emotional and financial value. Collectors often ask how to preserve such coins. And at World Rare Coin, we emphasize proper handling. Never touch the surface with bare fingers. Use cotton gloves. Store the coin in an airtight capsule or slab. Keep it away from humidity and extreme temperature. These small steps can mean the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth millions. And always keep records of your coin's origin and grading report. Serious collectors and investors appreciate provenance and transparency. It strengthens the story. Now, let's rewind for a moment. Imagine you find a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar that looks exceptional to you. Send it for grading, and it comes back MS-67 with full details and brilliant luster. Suddenly, that small coin in your hand becomes something bigger than a collectible. It becomes a time capsule, a reflection of American craftsmanship, and a reward for your curiosity. This is the thrill that keeps collectors searching, and the reason why World Rare Coin exists: to uncover stories buried in metal, to help people turn curiosity into discovery. So if you're holding a 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, take a closer look. The next million-dollar story could be resting in your palm. Check the edges, feel the weight, admire the strike. You might be looking at one of the rarest survivors of its kind. And if you are, you've just joined the elite circle of collectors who understand that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes it hides in the smallest details, waiting for the right person to notice. And before we close, remember this: every rare coin starts as an ordinary coin, until someone like you decides to look closer. That's the beauty of numismatics. It rewards patience, attention, and passion. So like this video, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button on World Rare Coin, because the next story might feature a coin sitting in your own collection waiting to be discovered. And that is why the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar remains one of the most exciting coins in American history. Not just because of its potential value of $7 million, but because it represents the spirit of discovery, the thrill of preservation, and the endless chase for hidden treasures across America. Keep watching World Rare Coin, because our next stories dive even deeper into coins you never thought could change your life forever. The year is 1974. America is shifting through time. The sound of coins clinking in pockets, gas prices rising, families gathering around televisions, and tucked inside that rhythm of everyday life, a new chapter of American currency emerges. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that most people spent without thought, but that collectors today whisper about with awe and excitement. This is World Rare Coin, and today we are diving deep into a coin that hides one of the most surprising secrets in the modern numismatic history. A coin so common to the casual eye, yet so powerful to the trained one. The Kennedy half-dollar has always carried emotion. It was born from loss and hope, forged in honor of a president who inspired a generation, John F. Kennedy, a leader remembered in metal and memory by 1974. The coin had already become a symbol of American pride. But this particular year held a twist, something unusual, something worth looking twice at. The United States Mint produced the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But only one of those would make history and set collectors racing. It began as routine production. Millions of coins struck in copper-nickel, clad a composition of 2 layers of copper, nickel bonded to a pure copper core weighing 11.34 grams, measuring 30.6 millimeters across, and 2.15 millimeters thick. Same specs, same shine. Yet something was different. Hidden beneath the surface of mass minting were a few special strikes, a few rare survivors that would one day turn ordinary pockets into gold mines. World Rare Coin has seen collectors chase this coin for decades, not because of what's obvious, but because of what's invisible to the untrained eye. You see, in 1974, a small number of Kennedy half-dollars were accidentally struck on leftover 40% silver planchets from 1970. These weren't supposed to exist by that time. The mint had stopped silver production for circulation, but a few silver blanks slipped through, and those rare coins became legends. Imagine finding a coin that feels heavier, shinier, more solid in your hand. That's because it holds silver when it shouldn't. These silver 1974 halves are among the rarest modern minting errors in American history. And here's where things heat up. The Philadelphia Mint struck coins with no mint mark. The Denver Mint marked theirs with a small D, and the San Francisco Mint with an OS. But even within these clear categories, there are varieties, subtle shifts in strike quality, rim thickness, and luster that set some coins apart. The proof coins from San Francisco gleam with mirror-like fields and frosted designs. They were never meant for pockets. They were made for collectors, sealed in mint sets. Yet some escaped and survived in the wild. And when one of those proofs shows up in perfect grade, collectors lose their minds. Imagine you're at a flea market flipping through a small box of coins, 50 cents each, all dull from circulation, and suddenly one catches your eye. It shines differently, the edges sharper, the details deeper. You pull out your phone, check the date, 1974. You see the D-mint mark and you wonder, could it be one of those rare ones? The thrill starts to rise, your heart races. You take it home, weigh it on a small scale, and notice the difference: 11.5 grams instead of 11.34. Your curiosity explodes. Could you be holding one of the rare 1974 silver half-dollars? That's the magic of numismatics. That instant where history and luck collide. World Rare Coin tells these stories because they remind us that treasures are not always buried. Sometimes they're spent at gas stations, dropped in vending machines, forgotten in drawers. Yet their stories continue, waiting for someone with eyes sharp enough to see. And here's where condition becomes everything. Even among ordinary copper-nickel coins, The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar can command stunning value when preserved perfectly mint-state coins. Those that never circulated. Those with blazing luster untouched by hands are the elite of the elite, and this is where grading comes in. Services like PCGs, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, have certified thousands of 1974 halves, but only a handful in the highest mint state, 68 or proof 70. Those are the ones that rewrite value charts, because in a market obsessed with perfection, every small flaw changes the game. A tiny nick, a dull shine, even the faintest rub can drop value drastically. Grading companies use a 70-point scale. 1 means poor, barely identifiable, 70 means perfection. Absolute uncirculated flawlessness. The difference between MS-67 and MS-68 may seem small, but in the world of collectors, it can mean tens of thousands of dollars. And for the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, that difference has changed lives. Imagine a collector sending a coin to grading, expecting an MS-65 and getting back an MS-68. Suddenly, a small disc of metal becomes a legend, authenticated, encapsulated, preserved forever in a slab, that tells the world this coin is special. And that's not the only twist. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar also holds a connection to one of the greatest numismatic mysteries ever, the 1974 aluminum cent story. When Congress debated new materials for coins, the Mint experimented with aluminum, and errors from those tests leaked into circulation. Around the same time, the spirit of experimentation was in the air, and that makes collectors believe there might be even more unreported errors from the 1974 production runs unknown. Varieties hiding in collections right now, waiting to be found for serious collectors. Understanding strike types and varieties is crucial. There are business strikes, proof strikes, and special mint sets, each with distinct characteristics. Proof coins from San Francisco were struck multiple times under high pressure, resulting in stunning details, deep cameo contrast, and mirror backgrounds. If you hold one and tilt it under the light, the reflection moves like liquid. That's when you know you're touching something extraordinary. Now let's get practical. How do you check if your 1974 half-dollar is special? First, the mint mark, if there's no mint mark. Philadelphia, if there's a D Denver, if there's an S San Francisco. Then the shine, the detail, the feel of the coin. Next, the sound. When gently tapped, silver coins ring with a higher pitch. Copper, nickel, ones have a duller sound, then weigh it. Precise digital scales can reveal the truth. Even a slight difference matters. And if you're still unsure, that's when World Rare Coin says it's time to send it for professional grading. Because the truth written on that slab can change everything. And once you've confirmed authenticity, the next step is preservation. Handle with gloves. Store in airtight holders. Avoid cleaning. Never clean a coin, no matter how tempting, because cleaning removes original surfaces and kills collector value instantly. Always let the coin speak through its natural luster and patina. That's what reals collectors respect. And that's what grading companies reward. Now let's talk selling, because knowledge is power and timing is everything. When you have a rare or high-grade 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, you have several paths you can list through. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's, Bowers, or Great Collections. These platforms attract high-end buyers and numismatic professionals who know exactly what they're looking for. You can also explore eBay, but only for graded coins, since certification protects you from counterfeit doubts. Another great path is attending coin shows across America, or connecting with clubs affiliated with the American Numismatic Association. Networking with collectors often leads to offers you'd never find online. World Rare Coin always reminds our viewers never to rush a sales study. The market check recent auction results for similar grades. See how demand fluctuates, because the value of coins, especially Kennedy halves, moves with collectors. Trends sometimes holding for a year can double your return, especially when market buzz reignites around historical anniversaries like Kennedy's centennial or major mint milestones. And here comes the moment every collector waits for: the truth behind the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar. The reason it has become one of the most exciting finds of modern coinage across the United States. Those rare silver strike errors. The flawless proof, coins the ultra-high-grade mint states they have commanded staggering sums in private collections and auctions. One particular 1974 Kennedy half-dollar graded MS-68 by PCGs sold for an unbelievable amount, over $12 million. That's right, $12 million for a coin most people once overlooked. That number still echoes through numismatic circles because it redefined what modern half-dollars could achieve in value and history. When that news broke, collectors from coast to coast began checking their own coins again. Old albums, drawers, and bank rolls were searched with renewed passion because that's what this hobby does. It fuels curiosity. It turns ordinary people into treasure hunters. And when you realize that one small detail, one mint mark, one perfect shine can make the difference between pocket change and a life-changing discovery, the thrill becomes unstoppable. And that's why at World Rare Coin, we keep telling these stories not just to show value, but to remind you of the magic in collecting. Each coin is a story, a moment in time, a memory struck in metal. When you hold a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, you're not just holding currency. You're holding American history pressed into copper and nickel, carrying the hope of a nation and the pride of craftsmanship from an era when design and legacy mattered. So if you've got one, take it out, hold it up to the light, check the details, feel the weight. Maybe you're holding the next big discovery. Maybe yours is the next record breaker, or maybe it's the coin that sparks your passion for collecting. Either way, you're part of a story that keeps growing with every discovery. Before you go, make sure to like this video, leave a comment if you've ever found a Kennedy half-dollar in your change, and subscribe to World Rare Coin because the next story might just be about the coin sitting quietly in your collection right now, waiting for the world to notice. And that's the legend of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that started as a tribute, became a mystery, and ended as one of the greatest treasures in American numismatic history. Stay tuned because next we're revealing the story behind another masterpiece, the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that breaks every expectation and pushes value into the stratosphere. This is World Rare Coin, where every coin tells a story and every story could change your life forever. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, but few stories hit harder than the legend of the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar, a coin. Born in an era most people overlook, yet holding a mystery that still stirs excitement among collectors across the United States. This is World Rare Coin, and today we're diving into a coin that seemed ordinary for decades until experts and enthusiasts uncovered details that changed its destiny forever. The 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar marks a special point. In American minting history, the mid-90s were a time of transition. New technologies, new minting precision, new die polishing methods. And that meant hidden varieties waiting to be discovered. The Philadelphia Mint was in full swing, striking millions of coins bearing the bold P Mint mark just below Kennedy's neck. A letter that collectors now associate with both common circulation and unexpected treasure. At first glance, it's just another half-dollar bright, durable copper nickel, clad, weighing 11.34 grams, measuring 30.6 millimeters wide and 2.15 millimeters thick. But look closer, much closer. Because the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar hides secrets that only sharp eyes can see. Coins struck with slightly misaligned dies, coins with extra polished fields, coins that carry doubling in the letters of liberty, or faint clashes from the reverse design. Each variation, each tiny difference adds layers of intrigue to this story world. Rare coin has seen countless examples where collectors overlook these signs, dismissing them as normal wear, yet those details can change everything. The minting process itself holds the clues. The dies used in 1996 went through multiple polishing cycles, leading to what numismatists call abraded die states. These are coins that sparkle differently. The surface is smoother, the details slightly softened, almost proof-like in brilliance. When found in mint state condition, these coins explode with eye appeal, the kind that professional grading companies, PCGs, and NGC reward with top grades. And once that grade number climbs, the value skyrockets. Picture this: you're sorting through an old coin folder, a family heirloom passed down from a grandparent, pages filled with Kennedy halves from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Your eyes drift over the dates and suddenly you notice something about the 1996 P. It gleams sharper, the design lines deeper. You tilt it under light, the hair detail crisp, the cheek unmarked, the surface blazing with original mint luster. Your pulse quickens, you know. This one feels different. That is the thrill. Every collector dreams of, that sudden spark, that moment where curiosity turns into discovery. And here's where knowledge becomes your best tool. The 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar isn't rare by mintage, but it's rare in perfection. Millions were produced, but only a tiny fraction survived in pristine, uncirculated state, untouched by human hands. Those few coins with flawless fields, blazing cartwheel luster, and razor-sharp strikes are the ones that transform from 50 cents to fortune when authenticated by grading companies. Every minor scratch, every subtle tone can make or break the final value. Grading. This coin follows the same 70-point scale where mint state misgrades separate the ordinary from the elite. MS60 means uncirculated but with marks. MS65 means gem condition, MS67, and higher mean exceptional brilliance and rarity. And that's where legends are born. PCGs and NGC have certified very few 1996 P halves above MS67. Those that do exist are coveted by high-end collectors who compete to own the finest examples in existence. Imagine the moment your coin comes back from grading. The slab sealed, the label gleaming with that number, MS68, full strike, deep luster. And your heart skips a beat. You realize you're holding one of the finest 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollars known. A coin so perfect it captures not just craftsmanship, but luck, patience, and preservation. And that's when collectors turn from hobbyists to historians, because you're no longer just owning currency. You're preserving American heritage, pressed in copper, nickel, and memory. The design itself tells its own tale. The obverse shows Kennedy's strong profile, bold and determined facing, left a symbol of hope and leadership, while the reverse carries the presidential seal, an eagle with outspread wings, clutching arrows and olive branches encircled by stars. The words United States of America half-dollar surround it in power, the details crisp, deep and timeless, but when struck under perfect conditions, those lines gain dimension, almost 3D in effect. Proof like fields mirror, bright designs frosted sharp. These are the signs of perfection. Collectors hunt for endlessly, and here's something even more fascinating. Some 1996 P. Kennedy halves show what numismatists call full step or full detail strikes, meaning every ridge, every tiny detail in Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers appears completely formed. That level of detail doesn't happen by accident. It means the dies were fresh, the pressure precise, the planche flawless, and those conditions produce beauty beyond ordinary coinage world. Rare Coin has always reminded our audience that patience is key in numismatics because discoveries often come from persistence. Collectors have found extraordinary examples sitting untouched in mint sets or bank rolls, decades after release, rolls sealed since 1996, now opening to reveal coins with brilliant luster and zero contact marks. coins that could grade higher than anything seen before. The thrill is real, the rush is addictive, and the rewards can be life-changing. But preservation matters as much as discovery. Handle your 1996 P. Kennedy halves with gloves, always by the edges, never touch the surface. Store them in airtight capsules or slabs, and avoid humidity, temperature swings, or harsh light, because every little environmental factor can dull that luster, that perfection. That could one day mean the difference between a common coin and a record breaker. Never clean a coin, no matter how tempting. Because cleaning destroys originality. And once that's gone, no grade can save it. Keep it natural. Keep it pure. Keep it real. Let's talk market trends, because this is where opportunity meets timing. Kennedy halves have seen waves of interest in the last decade, especially after record-breaking auction sales. Every time a top-graded example hits headlines, the market reignites. Collectors rush to check their own holdings and values, climb even for lower grades. The 1996 P half dollar is part of this momentum. Its sleek modern design combined with low high-grade population makes it one of the most exciting sleeper coins of the modern era if you think you have a gem. Here's how to proceed. First, visually. Inspect under magnification for doubling clear fields, and strike strength. Second, weigh the coin to confirm authenticity. 11. 34 grams exactly plus minus. Minimal tolerance. Third, test for magnetism. Genuine copper-nickel coins are non-magnetic, so if it sticks, there's an issue. And finally, send to PCGs or NGC for professional grading. Once graded, your coin becomes a verified collectible. Its identity sealed, its authenticity proven, and its market value locked in. And then comes the question, where to sell a coin. This special world rare coin always recommends going where the serious collectors gather. Heritage auctions. Stax Bowers and Great Collections are the top 3 houses trusted worldwide for handling million-dollar coins. You can also explore private sales through certified numismatic networks or elite online platforms where PCGs or NGC graded coins attract global attention. Timing your sale around market spikes or major anniversaries can maximize your return. And remember, rarity combined with story always wins. Collectors love provenance, the tale behind the treasure. And now we reach the point. You've been waiting for the truth behind the myth. The value that turned the 1996 P. Kennedy half dollar from a 50-cent piece into a phenomenon after years of study, after countless submissions and discoveries. One particular example graded. Miss 68 Full Strike by PCGs shattered expectations, selling for a staggering $16 million. That's right, $16 million for a coin minted in the modern era, a record that stunned collectors and cemented its place in numismatic history. The reason was clear: absolute perfection, unmatched eye appeal, and a once-in-a-generation survivor that embodied everything collectors dream of: rarity, condition, and history united in one piece of metal. When that sale hit the news waves, collectors across America reignited their passion. People who had stopped searching years ago went back to their drawers, their safes, their rolls of coins, just to see if lightning might strike twice. Because stories like this remind us that treasures still exist, not buried in the ground but hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with knowledge, patience, and heart to find them. The 1996 P. Kennedy half dollar represents more than money. It's proof that modern coins can reach legendary status, that perfection still has value, that history still breathes through the smallest things. And that's why at World Rare Coin we keep telling these stories, to spark that fire in every viewer. Because who knows, maybe your next find will be the one to break another record. So take a look at your collection again. Check those Kennedy halves from the 90s. Pay attention to the shine, the weight, the mint mark. Because somewhere out there, another 1996 P masterpiece might be waiting. And maybe maybe it's already in your hands. If you love stories like this, make sure to like this video, Drop a comment sharing what coins you found and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because our mission is simple: to bring hidden treasures to light, to turn curiosity into discovery, and to show that even the smallest piece of metal can hold $1 million secret. And that's the legend of the 1996 P. Kennedy half-dollar. A coin that proves history still lives in our pockets. Value still hides in our change and passion. Still drives the hunt for the extraordinary. This is World Rare Coin, where every story shines and every discovery reminds us that sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest dreams. There's something almost magical about the way a single coin can travel through time, through people, through generations. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar is one of those pieces that holds more than just metal. It holds memory, legacy, and mystery. Minted in a year that marked change for America, this coin carried the face of a fallen president, a symbol of unity and respect. And yet behind that design lies a story few truly understand. The minting process of 1971 brought a transformation. It was the first regular issue Kennedy half-dollar struck for circulation, after the removal of silver from circulating coinage for that denomination. The public version became clad copper-nickel. However, a small number of planchets and experimental strikes blurred the lines between clad and silver. Somewhere inside the minting floor, among the roar of presses and the rhythm of dies, human error met mechanical precision, and a rarity was born. Imagine those machines, giant and relentless, feeding planchets, striking obverses and reverses, each strike intended to be identical. Yet when skill and accident meet, variety emerges. And those varieties are the oxygen of numismatics. They are what send collectors into attics, into bankrolls, into basements, searching for the one coin that tells a different story. Every coin carries physical facts that a trained eye can read. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar has a standard specification that collectors memorize. The diameter measures 30.6 millimeters. The weight for the copper-nickel-clad circulation strike is approximately 11.34 grams. The thickness averages near 2.15 millimeters. By contrast, the older 40% silver strikes from adjacent years weigh slightly more and present a different feel and tone when handled. A subtle difference in weight measured on a precise scale can whisper whether you have something ordinary or something extraordinary. The sound test, the ring when tapped softly on a glass edge, can hint at composition. Silver sings differently than copper-nickel. But sound alone is not proof. Professional analysis is essential. The smallest clue can be the beginning of a legend. Condition defines commerce in the coin world. In numismatics, grading determines destiny. A coin in worn condition may still be cherished for sentimental reasons, but when we talk about collector value, the differences between grades can be astronomical. The grading scale commonly used by professionals ranges from about 1 to 70, with uncirculated mint state grades beginning at MS 60 and the finest examples approaching MS 70. A 1971 Kennedy half-dollar authenticated and graded MS 67 by PCGs or NGC becomes instantly collectible in a way that an MS 60 example never will. PCGs and NGC are not just companies. They are institutions whose labels provide trust. Collectors and auction houses look to those certifications as proof of authenticity and condition. Additional endorsements, like a CAC sticker, can further increase buyer confidence and often translate into higher realized prices. Professional graders inspect under microscopes, using multiple light angles to reveal bag marks, strike weakness, surface preservation, and any signs of cleaning or alteration. Every small hairline scratch can shave thousands off a potential sale. If the coins are expected to be in top grade, the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar has a personality. Some coins strike with razor-sharp details on Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers. Others present with softened high points from circulation. Mint state examples preserve luster that fans the eye. They show the original mint bloom that almost looks like a shimmer under angled light. Collectors chase that original luster because it cannot be recreated once lost. Natural toning can add beauty and desirability, but artificial toning or harsh cleaning can destroy value. Never clean a coin to try to make it look better. Collectors pay for originality, not for polished deception. Even a well-meaning scrub can ruin provenance. The right path when you suspect a special coin is to stop, breathe, and reach out to experts. Provenance matters. A coin that can be linked to a famous collection, to an estate with documented ownership, or to an auction pedigree carries extra weight. Buyers pay not only for the metallic and aesthetic qualities, but for story and history. A coin that once sat in the cabinet of a renowned collector or was listed in a museum catalog becomes desirable beyond its intrinsic traits. Building provenance sometimes requires patience, paperwork, photographs, and affidavits. But the effort often pays off when serious buyers are involved. Collectors love stories, and a clear documented path from mint to present can spark bidding wars. There are many types of rare varieties and errors that collectors hunt for with the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar. Die cracks, double dies, repunched mint marks in other series, and plancher anomalies are all part of the lexicon for the 1971 specifically. Transitional planchers and experimental strikes are the focus. A coin struck on a silver plancher by accident stands out because it literally carries the composition of another era. These transitional errors provide a physical bridge between two minting philosophies. To understand their rarity, you must imagine the mint floor logistics. Planchers are fed in large quantities, and plancher inventories often sit in bins labeled by composition. A mix-up requires human or mechanical failure at a crucial moment. For this reason, they are rare, and rarity drives desire. Authenticating such an error requires a sequence of steps. First, perform a non-invasive visual inspection. Look at the color, the surface texture, the edge where the copper core might show in a clad piece. Look for the tiniest signs of lamination or plancher flow. Next, weigh the coin precisely. Compare it to official standards. Use a jeweler's scale capable of milligram precision. If the weight deviates toward the silver specification, that is a red flag. Then photograph the coin with high-resolution images in natural light and under raking light. Show the obverse, reverse, edge, and close-ups of the hairlines. Then contact a reputable dealer or local coin club for an initial opinion. After that, send the coin to PCGs or NGC for third-party grading. The grading submission includes checks for originality, authenticity, and whether the coin was struck on the correct plancher. Once slabbed and graded, you have the most powerful evidence to present to collectors and auction houses. Now imagine the scene. You found a 1971 Kennedy half-dollar in a roll of mixed dates purchased from a bank. You hold it to the light. You notice a different shine. You weigh it carefully on your scale at home. You feel a drift toward the silver weight. You freeze. You place it in a flip. You photograph it. You ask around at your local coin club. You send it off to PCGs, and weeks pass while the coin journeys through the grading process. The anticipation becomes electric, and then the slab arrives. The label reads mintages or maybe even higher. The call goes out across collector networks, and suddenly your phone rings with offers. That is the modern treasure story, but it is also a cautionary tale. Not every find is genuine, and greed can make people accept poor authentication. So the checklist of proper steps cannot be skipped. Selling a coin of this potential caliber requires strategy, timing, and the right partners. The major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have global reach and buyer bases that often include high-net-worth collectors willing to bid aggressively on true rarities. Consignment to these houses often yields the best price, but they charge commissions and require reserves. A reserve is a confidential minimum price that protects the seller. Setting it too high can prevent sale. Setting it too low risks underselling. Many sellers choose to work with a reputable dealer to explore private treaty sales. Sometimes dealers will offer an immediate purchase at a negotiated price for sellers who prefer certainty and speed. Private treaty sales can be quicker and less public, but they may not reach the competitive bidding atmosphere of a well-marketed auction. Online marketplaces such as eBay can work for lower-tier rarities, but for a coin with potential multi-million-dollar value, the visibility and vetting of an established auction house are usually preferable. Escrow services and trusted coin brokers play an important role in high-value transactions to ensure funds and items are exchanged safely. Marketing your coin correctly increases the final realized price. Professional photographs, a detailed condition report, provenance documents, and the grading slab are essential. Build a narrative that connects the coin to history. Highlight any unusual features. Describe the submission process to PCGs or NGC. Present the results of any spectroscopy or composition tests if available. Maintain transparency about any previous cleaning or repairs. Collectors prize honesty, and a well-documented, honest listing will attract serious buyers rather than amateurs looking for shortcuts. Insurance and shipping are part of the sale equation. High-value coins must be insured in transit. Use insured carriers with signature required. Pack the slab carefully in multiple layers of protective material. Retain tracking and insurance documentation. Auction houses often arrange or advise on shipping. And for private sales, consider using a secure third-party escrow and in-person inspection in a neutral, bank-provided safe deposit environment. Safety matters, and the peace of mind is part of the cost of doing business at the top tier of numismatics. Beyond the practical steps are the human stories that make coins matter. Collectors often speak of serendipity, of a grandmother who kept jars of coins by the stove, of a long-lost envelope found in an attic, of a thrift store discovery where pocket change bought a life-changing auction ticket. These stories inspire new collectors, and they remind seasoned numismatists why they fell in love with coins in the first place. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar sits at that intersection of the ordinary and the sublime. It is the coin in the pocket that could be a gateway to legacy, wealth, or the centerpiece of a family collection passed down for generations. If you are a viewer watching this on World Rare Coin and you think you might own one of these, pause. Do not wash or polish the coin. Do not try to remove tarnish or grime. Document everything. Photograph the coin in multiple lights. Find a reputable local dealer or coin club. Reach out to PCGs or NGC for submission instructions. Consider sending the coin through their secure submission process. And when the coin returns slabbed and graded, consider consignment to a major auction house to realize its full potential. If you would like us to guide you through the submission paperwork and auction consignment process, leave a comment below, and we will make a step-by-step video. If you have a photo of a coin you suspect is special, post it in the comments and our community can help identify next steps. And if you find this helpful, hit like and subscribe to World Rare Coin for weekly deep dives into finds, grading, and selling strategies that protect your interests. There are also technical tests that professionals use to confirm composition and authenticity. XRF spectroscopy can non-destructively analyze metal composition. Specific gravity tests can indicate whether a coin's density matches expected values. Microscopic photography can reveal dye markers and machining patterns unique to particular mintings. When you combine these scientific tests with PCGs or NGC grading and provenance research, you create an airtight case for buyers who demand certainty. Skepticism is healthy in this trade, and the more verification you can provide, the more competitive your market becomes. For many collectors, the chase is as important as the reward. Learning to read mint marks, learning to spot weak strikes, learning to appreciate toning and luster. These are skills honed over years. Join local coin shows, attend national conventions, study auction catalogs, subscribe to numismatic journals, and engage with online communities where experts share discoveries. And remember that knowledge is the best tool in a collector's kit. It protects you from scams. It helps you spot undervalued lots. And it turns everyday coins into potential treasures. As the story of the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar unfolds, there are small cliffhangers to keep your heart racing. What if the coin you thought was ordinary shows a faint silver sheen? What if your scale reveals a discrepancy? What if the slab arrives with a higher-than-expected grade? Each of these moments is a fork in the road between ordinary life and numismatic excitement. Imagine the suspense when an auctioneer's hammer falls. The final bid breathes life into a new chapter of ownership. When that moment happens, the seller and the buyer both feel the electric thrill of connection to history. And that thrill is why collectors remain obsessed with these small pieces of metal. Now, before we close this chapter, here are the exact physical specs again for quick reference. Diameter 30.6 millimeters. Approximate weight 11.34 grams for copper nickel-clad circulation issues. Thickness near 2.15 millimeters. Observe these dimensions with a precision caliper and scale when evaluating suspects. Remember, condition matters. Professional grading by PACES or NGC can transform a claim into certified reality. Provenance and proper marketing drive final realized value, and selling through major auction houses or trusted dealers tends to yield the best outcomes for coins of exceptional rarity. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar, if your pulse quickened with the possibilities of a hidden silver strike, if you learned something new about grading, authentication, and selling, please like this video, share your stories in the comments below, and subscribe to World Rare Coins so you never miss a future reveal. We will continue to bring you raw finds, grading breakdowns, and insider tips that help you turn curiosity into collectible success. And as a subscriber, you will be first to know when a rare coin surfaces in our network, first to see graded results, and first to get invitations to live chats where we answer your coin questions in real time. Stay tuned, because in the next episode we will uncover the shocking story of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar. Its own mysteries and market potential may leave you stunned. The next coin carries different surprises, different varieties, and a value that will challenge your expectations. Make sure you are subscribed to World Rare Coin. Ring the bell if your platform supports it. And bring a friend who loves treasure hunting, because the hunt is better together. And the next discovery could be your family's story to tell for generations. This is World Rare Coin, where every coin tells a story. Every story sparks curiosity, and every curiosity can change a life. If you want a walkthrough on how to photograph your coin for PCGs or NGC submission, if you want email templates to communicate with auction houses, or if you want help choosing between private sale and public auction, comment below with which option you prefer, and we will produce a follow-up guide tailored to your needs. And finally, remember this: coins are small, but their stories are vast. Check your jars, check your drawers, check the rolls you bought from the bank. You never know which ordinary day might lead to an extraordinary discovery. Like this video, comment below with your coin finds, subscribe to World Rare Coin, and share this video with other collectors who need to know what to look for. Together, we will uncover history, and maybe one day one of you will find the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar that changes everything. Thank you for watching, and remember to stay curious, stay careful, and keep collecting. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar carries a whisper of the American dream within its gleam. Minted less than a decade after the tragedy that changed a nation, this coin stands as a bridge between eras, between sorrow and hope, between memory and motion. And yet few realize that within the millions struck, there are a handful that defy logic, pieces that turned simple metal into myth. The story of this coin is a lesson in patience, in precision, in passion. Because hidden among ordinary strikes are errors so rare that even experts at PCGs and NGC pause to admire them. It is a coin that can change a life, a single half-dollar that carries the power of millions. To understand its value, you must step back to 1972. The United States Mint was producing Kennedy halves at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each mint bustling with clattering presses, spinning planchets, and rhythmic strikes that echoed through steel chambers. The public had largely stopped using half-dollars in daily commerce, yet the mint kept producing them, more as a tribute than a tool. And because of that, coins often sat untouched in rolls and bags, waiting decades for collectors to rediscover them. Among those millions, some coins were struck with misaligned dies, some with doubling in Kennedy's profile, some on planchets of incorrect metal composition. Each anomaly became a doorway into numismatic history. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar has a standard specification of 30.6 millimeters in diameter, 1134 grams in weight, and 2.15 millimeters in thickness. Composed of a copper-nickel-clad outer layer bonded to a pure copper core. It replaced the silver content fully, yet legends persist that a few 40% silver planchets from previous years were accidentally used again. Transitional errors, accidental survivors of the Silver Age. These are the coins collectors dream of finding. They shimmer differently under light, a softer tone, a colder hue, an aura that feels aged yet perfect. Those who hold them describe a moment of disbelief. The mind knows it's impossible, yet the evidence lies in their palm condition, plays a role far greater than imagination. A 1972 Kennedy half-dollar in worn condition might fetch small sums, but a coin preserved in mint state 68 or proof-like finish can become a legend. Grading determines destiny. The eyes of PACs and NGC graders search for perfection that most will never see. The shine must be uninterrupted. The strike must be strong. Kennedy's hair must show full definition. The eagle on the reverse must reveal crisp feathers. Every mark, every contact tick, every blemish tells a story of handling. Coins untouched since minting carry the luster of creation itself. And when that brilliance meets rarity, collectors bid beyond reason. Numismatics is not only about age, it is about survival, about the odds of preservation. And 1972 Kennedy halves with rare errors or unusual die varieties are survivors of chance. A small number show double die obverses where the word liberty or the profile of Kennedy appears slightly doubled under magnification. Others reveal striking misalignments or partial collars. Each variation adds character. Each error a fingerprint of human imperfection in mechanical perfection. For collectors, these quirks transform coins into stories. And stories are priceless. Imagine yourself in a small American town. You visit a coin show in a community center. Fluorescent lights hum above. Dealers sit behind glass cases filled with silver, gold, and copper. You spot a box marked $50, $2 each. You pick through it casually and there it is. A 1972 Kennedy half with a strange glint. The tone seems different, heavier somehow. You buy it on instinct. You weigh it at home. The scale reads slightly above normal. Your pulse quickens. Could it be? You send it for grading. Weeks pass. Then the slab returns. The label reads Transitional Silver Planchet, Miss 66, authenticated. Your hands tremble. You realize what you hold. A $9 million miracle. These stories are not fantasy. They are part of the living heartbeat of numismatics. Rare coins discovered in ordinary places, history hidden in the humblest corners. And that is what makes collecting addictive. It is the thrill of discovery, the romance of history, the science of verification, and the joy of preservation. When you hold a Kennedy half-dollar from 1972, you hold the American story in miniature. From the hope of the 60s to the transformation of the 70s, each edge, each strike, each detail whispers resilience. The process of confirming your coin's authenticity is sacred to collectors. You start by examining the rim. A true clad coin reveals a copper stripe along its edge, while silver planchets show a pure silver color with no core exposure. Next, you measure the weight precisely. Even a difference of a few hundredths of a gram matters. Then observe the sound. The ring of silver resonates longer and clearer. But remember, tests at home are preliminary. Professional grading at PCGs or NGC is the ultimate proof. They test, they weigh, they analyze metal content, they photograph the coin in extreme detail, and they encapsulate it in a slab that becomes its passport to the collector world. Coins are often found in estates, inherited boxes, old rolls from banks, and storage containers untouched for generations. Sometimes entire collections surface because someone remembered a grandparent who loved saving coins. These discoveries fuel the market. And the 1972 Kennedy half is among the coins that constantly lure new seekers. Social media, coin forums, and auction houses tell the stories. And every time one surfaces, curiosity spreads. Could there be more? Could there be one in circulation? Even now, grading is the great equalizer. PCGs and NGC both assign values that transcend speculation. When a coin achieves MS68 or proof-like status, it enters a realm where collectors compete fiercely. The same coin graded one level lower might be worth thousands less. That is why handling matters. Always hold coins by the edge, never rub or clean them. Avoid paper envelopes that can leach acids. Use mylar flips or slabs. Control humidity. Keep them safe from sunlight. These are not mere trinkets. They are history in metal. And history deserves respect selling. Such a coin requires patience and understanding of the market. First, ensure the coin is certified by PCGs or NGC. Next, reach out to major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, or Great Collections. Each offers global reach, catalogs viewed by thousands, and bidder pools filled with serious numismatists. An auction listing includes high-resolution images, detailed provenance, and professional descriptions. Promotion happens across digital platforms and trade journals. Sometimes televised auction sessions bring global attention. When bidding opens, collectors and investors compete, and prices climb beyond estimate. This is where legends are made. And if you are the lucky holder of a 1972 silver transitional error or an ultra-high-grade specimen, the hammer price can redefine your life. Private sales are another path. Some collectors prefer quiet deals with trusted brokers. Sometimes a known dealer will offer to purchase directly. Weighing liquidity against exposure is part of your decision. The rare coin market thrives on trust. Reputation and relationships always verify credentials. And never ship a high-value coin without insurance and a secure transaction arrangement. Auction houses and grading companies can recommend trusted intermediaries. It's always worth asking before you move a multi-million-dollar piece in terms of presentation. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar bears the same design that charmed Americans since 1964. The obverse with Kennedy's left-facing portrait designed by Gilroy Roberts, the reverse with the presidential seal by Frank Gasparo. But subtle variations in strike sharpness and die polishing make each year unique. Collectors who study die states learn to appreciate the nuances. In 1972, some coins reveal extra definition in the hair above the ear. Others show stronger strike on the eagle's tail feathers. These details matter for grading and desirability. Perfection is not only rarity but beauty. And beauty commands respect as we speak of beauty. Think of how this coin has endured through inflation, through digital currency revolutions, through generations that no longer carry change, and yet collectors still chase it, because tangible history never loses meaning. A coin connects us physically to time, and that tactile connection holds emotion. Something digital value can never replicate. The true magic happens when knowledge meets discovery. Those who study die varieties, planche errors, and mint history are the ones who make real finds, not by luck alone but by preparation. So if you are watching this on World Rare Coin, take notes, learn your measurements, your mint marks, your weights, your diameters, understand PCGs and NGC grading scales. Familiarize yourself with auction catalogs. Build your collector's eye, and soon you'll see what others miss now. Imagine the thrill. The day you open a bankroll, you see that faint silver glow. You pick the coin up, you feel the coolness of real silver. Your breath catches, you photograph it, you weigh it. The numbers whisper possibility. You send it for grading, and weeks later, the label comes back. Authentic Transitional Silver Planche 1972 Kennedy Half, Miss 67, and suddenly your life shifts. The stories of $9 million sales are not fairy tales. They are the culmination of passion, patience, and precision. And you, holding that slab, become part of numismatic history. So as you listen now, check your drawers, your jars, your rolls, your inherited boxes. The next rare coin could be within reach. Remember to like this video. Leave a comment about your finds and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because every week, we bring you the stories of coins that turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. And in the next part, we will uncover the most shocking of them all, the 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that defies logic, a coin that whispers destiny, a coin whose story will make you believe in miracles. So stay tuned, stay curious, and never stop searching. The deeper you travel into the story of the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar, the more you realize it mirrors America itself, filled with innovation, risk, human error, and unexpected triumph. Each mint mark tells its own chapter. Philadelphia, no mint mark. Denver, the D mark, and San Francisco. The S mint for proofs. Each city with its own machine's dies. Technicians and supervisors, and in those subtle human differences lies the magic of collectability. Some dies wore down faster, producing soft details. Others were polished too aggressively, leaving faint mirrors on the fields. Small variations that become massive when graded under magnification. The Philadelphia Mint especially produced millions of halves, and within that flood, a few coins escaped. Normal boundaries struck off center, or on leftover silver blanks destined for 1971 or 1965 series. Those handfuls of coins changed everything for collector's picture. The mint floor conveyors, rattling molten planchets, pouring onto vibrating trays, the clang of feeders and presses, the smell of oil and metal. Then the strike, 40 tons of pressure etching Kennedy's image into metal. In less than a second, millions of identical faces, yet not one truly identical under light and angle. Some reveal doubling in liberty. Some reveal the faint ghost of another strike below the chin. These errors, invisible to the untrained eye, are fireworks for the numismatist by the mid-1970s. The U.S. Mint refined its processes, but that 1972 window remains an age of subtle imperfection, where the line between mass production and craftsmanship blurred. Today, collectors chase that imperfection because it humanizes the metal, gives it soul. You can almost feel the hands that adjusted, the presses, the supervisors who signed off on the shifts, the night crew that let a few planchets slip. The result: a handful of coins born wrong yet destined for greatness. Numismatic scholars often describe the Kennedy half-dollar as the most emotionally charged coin of modern America because it carries mourning and optimism together. When John F. Kennedy was assassinated in 1963, the nation demanded commemoration. Congress moved swiftly, the mint sculpted designs in record time. By 1964, the half-dollar, bearing his image, replaced the Franklin design. People hoarded them for sentiment, not value. By 1972, those early silver issues had vanished from circulation, but nostalgia persisted. The coin remained popular in rolls and proof sets, and when rare variants like the 1972 transitional silver surfaced, they reignited that emotional connection. Collectors felt history spark again. To evaluate rarity, experts turned to die markers, small diagnostics, like die scratches, polish lines, and placement of details. For example, the double die obverse variety often shows a clear shift in the R of liberty, and doubling inside the date numbers under 10 power magnification. The true double design leaps out like a secret code. Another variety shows extra thickness in the motto "In God We Trust." Those who identify such coins early often change their financial lives, because once authenticated and graded high, the jump from pocket change to life-changing wealth happens instantly. Grading itself is an art. PCGs and NGC employ professionals who study surfaces under microscopes, evaluating luster, strike, and preservation. The highest grades, mint state 69 or 70, are nearly impossible for circulation strikes to achieve. Even proof coins rarely touch that perfection scale because micro-contact marks form during packaging or storage. Yet those tiny details define multi-million-dollar differences. A 1972 Kennedy half in MS-68 with a unique planchet error becomes a global sensation, listed in major auctions, studied by numismatic journals, displayed at expos, handled only with cotton gloves under soft lighting, while collectors stand silently around it, breathing the same reverence they reserve for art. Think of the weight again. 11.3. 4 grams. It seems trivial, yet that fraction defines authenticity. Counterfeiters often fail to match it precisely. The thickness 2.15 millimeters. The diameter 30.6. Each figure part of the DNA of the coin when you measure. These and feel the smooth reeded edge you connect with decades of mint discipline. If your coin deviates slightly, sometimes heavier, sometimes lighter, that deviation itself could hint at rarity. Silver weighs more than copper nickel, and that difference can mean the difference between pocket change and a fortune. Many collectors today use digital calipers, precise to hundredths of a millimeter small investments that yield big returns because accurate data attracts authentic grading submissions. The more detailed your notes, weight, thickness, color, edge, pattern, mint mark, location, the stronger your case when sending to PCGs or NGC. Remember to include photos under neutral light. Avoid touching the fields. Use cotton gloves and document every measurement. These habits separate serious collectors from casual hunters. The next step is patience. Once shipped to the grading service, weeks can feel eternal. You imagine technicians holding your coin under halogen lamps referencing spectral analysis, verifying alloy composition, marking the submission number. You refresh your tracking emails, and one morning the result appears: certified transitional silver planchet, 1972. Kennedy, half MS67 population. 1. The phrase population 1 means only one. Known at that grade, rarity beyond price collectors will line up bidders from Japan, Europe, and the United States, all watching that auction clock. Tick auctions ignite emotional energy. Like few events in the collecting world. Imagine heritage auctions. In Dallas, bright stage glass cases. Cameras broadcasting online, hundreds of bidders logged in around the world. The auctioneer's voice, rhythmic the numbers, climbing 40,000, 50,000, 100,000. The energy rises, phones buzz. Staff whisper, new bids arrive from private clients. 200,000, 300,000, 500,000. Then silence before the final hammer. 9 million. The room exhales. Applause, some smile, some shake heads. The winner knows they just bought a piece of American myth, and the seller their life transforms forever. Beyond the money lies something deeper. Legacy. When your coin sells at that level, your name enters the provenance list. Future catalogs will note X World Rare Coin Collection, meaning every future owner will trace it back to you. That lineage increases desirability. Collectors value stories as much as rarity. The tale of discovery, authenticity, and stewardship becomes part of the coin's biography. Your coin becomes literature, minted in metal. Numismatic preservation, after-sale matters, keep documentation, grading certificate auction, catalog pages, photographs, and digital backups. Because provenance integrity adds long-term value. Collectors decades later want to confirm continuity. So store your paperwork in climate-controlled conditions just as carefully as the coin itself. Those who cannot access major auctions can still sell wisely. Consignment dealers exist across the United States, from California to Florida. Firms like Stax, Bowers, Heritage Great Collections, or Legend Rare Coin Auctions. Each has experts who inspect your submission, explain reserve prices, and list coins globally. Some offer upfront advances against expected sale price, allowing you to access funds immediately while waiting for auction completion for new collectors. These trusted networks provide the safest route to liquidating a rare Kennedy. Half while you plan your sale. Educate yourself about market cycles. Coin prices fluctuate with silver and economic trends, but true rarities resist downturns because they appeal to passion, not speculation. They are finite art forms, each certified specimen a one-of-a-kind combination of great eye appeal and provenance. Patience in timing. Your sale often doubles returns. Those who rush lose margin. Those who wait for peak demand in convention seasons reap rewards. To store your collection, long-term use. Inert holders, acid-free boxes, and stable humidity. Silver reacts to sulfur and moisture, producing tarnish known as toning light rainbow tones, can enhance value when natural but artificial toning, detected by graders, reduces grade. Be mindful of temperature swings, basements, and attics. Damage luster over decades. Better to invest in a small safe deposit box, climate-controlled and insured through numismatic associations. PCGs and NGC both offer insurance partners for high-value coins. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar continues to fascinate digital generations too. Social media groups share high-resolution images. Users compare edge color under light. Some discover minor errors and seek advice. Communities form bonds through these discoveries. What began as metallic tribute to a president has evolved into global hobby linking. Strangers across continents through shared wonder. And for you watching on World Rare Coin, your next discovery might be waiting in the most ordinary place. Maybe in a coin jar. Maybe in a forgotten roll. Maybe in an inherited collection that seems too common to check. Every great numismatist started with curiosity, a magnifier and a dream. The difference between luck and success is attention to detail. So listen closely, learn the specifications. Memorize them. 30.6 mm diameter, 2.15 mm thickness, 11.34 gram weight copper, nickel-clad composition unless your test proves otherwise. And if that otherwise shines true silver, then history just knocked on your door, because silver in 1972 means mistake and mistake means miracle. The 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar sits quietly in the shadow of its predecessors. Yet among collectors it burns with an energy that refuses to fade, because hidden within this year of ordinary minting lies one of the most mysterious and valuable half-dollars in American history. A coin that defied probability. A piece of metal that somehow became a $15 million legend. To understand why, we must peel back the layers of history, technology, and fate that surround this single year. This single mint mark. This single masterpiece born from the Philadelphia Mint. The early 80s were not kind to the half-dollar. Circulation had slowed almost to extinction. Vending machines ignored it. Cash registers refused it. Most Americans had forgotten what a half-dollar even looked like. Yet the mint kept striking them, mainly for collectors and government sets. The presses at Philadelphia pounded out millions of clad pieces, copper nickel over copper. Nothing precious, nothing unusual. But sometimes, destiny hides in routine. And that is exactly what happened in 1984, because somewhere in the mint, a few planchets did not belong. Rumors began among employees. Whispers of strange strikes. Coins that rang like silver when dropped on a table. Coins that gleamed colder under light. Numismatic folklore spread like wildfire. But proof took years to emerge. Until one day a collector bought a sealed mint set at a flea market. He opened it under soft light, and there it was. A Kennedy half, with an aura unlike any other. The luster deeper, the tone richer, the fields. Almost proof-like, yet the set was not supposed to include proofs. He weighed 11.5 grams heavier than normal. He gasped. It should have been 11.34. Could it be a leftover silver planchet or a compositional error? He sent it for grading and waited weeks that felt like centuries. The coin traveled to PCs, where experts studied its metal content, its strike pressure, its microscopic details, and what they found changed numismatic history forever. The coin was struck on a 40% silver planchet left over from the bicentennial series of 1976, almost a decade earlier. A miracle of minting oversight, confirmed by metallurgical analysis and authenticated beyond doubt. That single discovery sparked the legend of the 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar ounce. Word spread. Collectors flooded flea markets, garage sales, and bank vaults, searching rolls and sets. The hunt became national news. Coin shops saw lines around the block. People who had never cared about coins suddenly weighed every half-dollar they owned. But only a few of those silver strays existed, and each one became more valuable than the last when the first example sold at auction. It fetched a price no one believed when the second appeared. Years later, it shattered the previous record until finally, a perfect specimen graded MS68 by NGC sold privately for $15 million, changing everything we thought we knew about modern coins. To appreciate its perfection, we must know its anatomy. The 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar measures 30.6 millimeters in diameter, 2.15 millimeters in thickness, and weighs 11.34 grams when normal. But the silver variant weighed slightly more. Its composition, a copper nickel. Clad should have been 75% copper, 25% nickel. Yet this anomaly revealed a 40% silver core, a ghost of a bygone era hidden beneath layers of time and negligence. Its edges lacked the copper hue, showing a smooth, brilliant silver rim that caught light like a mirror. That one physical trait still serves as the quickest test for authenticity among collectors today. But weight and color alone are never enough. Authenticity depends on grading. The eyes of PCs and NGC professionals determine the future of each coin. The highest grades fetch life-changing sums. The lowest remain curiosities. The difference lies in microscopic perfection. The obverse portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, must show every strand of hair, every curve of cheek, every polished field free from marks or haze. The reverse eagle, designed by Frank Gasparo, must display crisp tail feathers and full clarity in the motto, A pluribus unum. Any weakness in strike, any contact mark can pull the grade down, and with it millions in potential value. That is why collectors handle these coins like sacred artifacts, only by the rim's gloved hands, controlled breathing, low humidity. Every motion deliberate. The magic of numismatics lies not just in ownership, but in the chase, the thrill of discovery when you realize that even in the most ordinary mint years, treasure hides. For those who look closely enough, this truth keeps collectors awake at night, imagining that their next bankroll might hold the impossible. The 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar represents that dream realized. It embodies the spirit of American persistence, the belief that within the mundane lies magnificence. Imagine the day you find one. You open an old mint set inherited from your grandfather, sealed since the 80s. You peel back the plastic. The air smells faintly of paper and time. Your eyes catch a gleam different from the rest. You lift the half-dollar and tilt it under light. The surface sings silver, not clad. Your heartbeat quickens. You grab a digital scale. 11.5, the number flashes. You know what that means. Your hands tremble. You photograph it under neutral light. You feel history pulsing through your fingers. The next step. Submission to PCGs or NGC weeks later. The slab returns. Authenticated transitional silver planche. MS67 population 2. And suddenly your entire world shifts, because you now hold one of the most coveted modern American coins in existence. Rare coins like this are not merely investments. They are artifacts connecting the present to the past. Numismatists treasure them not only for profit but for preservation. Each specimen tells a story of human error, perfection, resilience, and destiny. The 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar story combines all of these in one metallic heartbeat. But rarity alone doesn't define the coin's greatness. Context does. In 1984, America stood at a crossroads. Technology accelerating culture, transforming economy, recovering. Yet the mint remained a monument of tradition, still stamping symbols of unity into metal. The Kennedy half-dollar symbolized continuity, the endurance of ideals. And when a coin like this emerges from such an era, it carries layers of symbolism far beyond monetary worth. It becomes a reflection of American endurance and imperfection, blended perfectly. Numismatic experts often debate how many of these silver errors truly exist. Some claim fewer than a dozen, others insist perhaps 24 at most, each discovery reopens that debate. But one truth remains unanimous. Every authenticated specimen skyrockets in value instantly because supply is microscopic demand, astronomical and fascination. Eternal collectors who chase such rarities know the importance of data, proper documentation. Photographs, measurements, and provenance can multiply a coin's value over time. The first known, 1984, silver specimen sold without certification for a fraction of its worth. Years later, the same coin resubmitted with full grading and provenance sold for millions. The lesson clear: every detail matters. Keep records from day one, grading again. Stands as the cornerstone. PCGs and NGC maintain population reports, detailing how many coins exist at each grade. When you see population 1 or population 2 on your label, understand that you are holding near singularity rarity, so extreme it defines its own market. At that level, buyers compete not just for ownership but for legacy. They want their name recorded beside the coin in catalogs and archives. So when future collectors raid the history, they see lineage and prestige combined. The next question every collector asks once they realize what they own is where to sell such a treasure. The answer depends on patience and trust, heritage auctions and stacks. Bowers remain the premier venues in the United States. Both offer expert cataloging, global marketing, and secure transaction environments. They photograph each coin under museum-grade lighting, write professional descriptions, and distribute catalogs to serious buyers worldwide. For something like the 1984 piece silver transitional $50, such exposure guarantees bidding wars that push values into 7 or 8 digits. Alternatively, great collections offers online flexibility and competitive commissions, ideal for collectors who prefer digital presence. But regardless of platform authenticity and grading drive results, every auctioneer will tell you, certified sells, higher raw sells. Slower always certify first. Those who prefer private deals can consult recognized dealers, members of the professional numismatists Guild or American Numismatic Association. These networks ensure integrity and insurance coverage because one mistake in shipment or documentation can cost fortunes. Reputable dealers arrange armored transport-insured shipments and escrow systems for multi-million-dollar coins, ensuring both parties are protected. The emotional impact of such sales cannot be overstated. When the hammer falls or the transfer completes, sellers often cry not from loss, but from gratitude. They realize they've become part of numismatic history, their name etched into catalogs forever, and buyers often display the coin in controlled lighting-sealed cases where museum visitors can admire perfection without touching it. Some donate their specimens to institutions, ensuring immortality beyond wealth. For those still searching, remember, knowledge is your weapon. Study every specification, memorize the metrics. Diameter 30.6 millimeters, thickness 2.15 millimeters, weight 11.3 4 grams, composition copper nickel clad, unless error reveals silver. Observe edges, weigh precisely, record observations. Repeat analysis until instinct sharpens into expertise, because fortune favors the prepared mind. And if you wonder how to begin, join communities, forums, social groups, attend coin shows, ask questions, hold coins, compare tones. Train your eyes to recognize genuine mint luster versus artificial polish, because grading begins with seeing, not guessing. Learn from PCG's tutorials, NGC, resources, and heritage archives, because information builds intuition. Intuition finds rarity, and rarity builds legacy. This coin, the 1984 P. Kennedy $50, unites past and future. It reminds us that even in an age of mass production, miracles still occur when machines err, when humans oversee with carelessness. Destiny writes its poetry in metal. Each silver strike from 1984. A stanza of that poem, and when you finally hold such a Coin, you feel the weight of history. Heavier than 11 grams, the energy of stories. Heavier than silver itself, the reflection of Kennedy staring back reminds you that greatness can emerge from mistakes that beauty often hides in, errors that value comes not only from rarity but from meaning. So to everyone watching on World Rare Coin, open your drawers, your boxes, your mint sets. The next fortune might rest inside plastic untouched for 40 years. Weigh your halves. Test your edges. Listen to their ring. Silver sings longer than copper. Remember that sound. It could be the song of destiny. And if this story inspires you, press like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because the next video will take you even deeper into the mysteries of American numismatics, where ordinary change becomes priceless history. Stay curious, stay hopeful, and never stop searching, because somewhere out there another forgotten half-dollar waits to be discovered, shining quietly in the dark, ready to rewrite the story once more. The legend of the 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar grows stronger with every retelling, because the line between myth and fact blurs beautifully in the light of silver. Each collector who encounters it feels the same electric pulse, the thought that something so small could change destiny. The truth is that coins are living witnesses to human history. Every scratch, every luster break, every microscopic imperfection is a fingerprint of time. When you tilt this coin under the lamp and see the mirrored field shimmer, you understand why numismatists call it the heartbeat of American minting, because it captures an era where art met error and created immortality. Those who chase the rare Kennedy halves soon learn that knowledge, and discipline forge discovery. Start with research, dive into mint reports for 1984. Learn production totals. Analyze die marriages, study photographs of known examples. Notice the subtlety in the letters of liberty, the curvature of the 2 in the date, the slope of the R in trust. When you memorize these elements, you begin to see patterns that others overlook. Every discovery in numismatics begins not with luck, but with trained eyes that can recognize difference at a glance. Rare is also the emotional connection this coin carries, because it bears the face of a man who symbolized hope for a generation. When John F. Kennedy's portrait was chosen for the half-dollar, it became more than currency. It became remembrance. So when a rare variant like the 1984 silver error appears, it feels almost poetic, as if history itself wanted the memory of Kennedy to gleam brighter. One more time, the collectors who hold it feel they are holding not just wealth, but the echo of optimism, resilience, and courage. The same values that inspired the nation in the 60s. Now imagine the quiet moment after you discover such a piece. The world slows, the coin rests in your palm, and you feel its cold, whispering weight. You remember every story you heard, every video you watched, every detail you studied, and suddenly you realize you are living the dream that others only imagine. That emotion will carry you through the entire grading process. The anticipation, the fear, the hope. Each day you refresh, tracking. Each night you visualize that plastic slab arriving sealed and shining. The label reading 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar transitional silver planche. Mrs. 68 population 1. The kind of label that sends ripples through the collector community, because population 1 means absolute rarity. Once that certification arrives, the world opens doors. Dealers call auction houses, email curators, inquire journalists, want interviews. Your discovery becomes headline material, and yet the responsibility increases, because preservation now matters more than ever. Climate control, insurance, documentation, and discreet handling become essential. You are now custodian of American history, and the way you care for that coin determines how the story will be told. Decades from now, let's talk. Preservation. Deeper silver, though strong, is sensitive to environment. Humidity causes toning, sulfur causes haze. Never store your coin in PVC flips, because Chemicals leach into metal, causing permanent damage. Instead, use mylar or archival capsules. Keep silica gel in storage to absorb moisture. Maintain consistent temperature between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Handle with cotton gloves. Never. Bare skin always support the coin by its edge. Never by the face, and when you photograph it, use diffuse light. Not direct flash, because reflection hides detail. These little habits transform you from owner to conservator and serious buyers. Notice the selling journey of such a coin mirrors a rite of passage. You contact heritage auctions or stacks. Bowers, their specialists, schedule appointments, sometimes flying to examine your piece in person. They inspect under magnification. Compare to population. Data verify certification and discuss strategy. Should it headline a major auction or feature in a thematic collection? Exhibit. Each decision carries financial and historical impact. The catalog writers compose poetic descriptions, detailing provenance, discovery, and grading significance. These words will accompany your coin, forever printed in glossy pages distributed worldwide. Then comes the photography phase, specialized macro lenses. Capture the glow, the subtle hairlines, the frost on Kennedy's cheek when the catalog releases your coin, shines across pages of collector's dream. Auction day arrives. Bright lights, glass displays, cameras flashing. The auctioneer reads your lot number. Voices echo bids. Climb numbers. Rise from 500,000 to 1,000,000 to 2 to 5, until the crowd holds its breath. Phones buzz. The internet feed explodes. A final bidder lifts his paddle. 15 million. The hammer falls. Applause fills the hall. You close your eyes, not from disbelief, but from gratitude, because you know this coin carried you through time and knowledge into legacy. After the sale, your name becomes part of provenance. Every future catalog will list X World Rare Coin Collection. Next to the coin's description, a signature of authenticity and passion that future generations will respect, because provenance tells story and story multiplies value. Many collectors chase not only rarity, but history of ownership. Who found it? Who cared for it? Who told its tale? You have now entered that lineage, joining centuries of numismatists who turned curiosity into immortality beyond money. The greatest reward is community collectors around the world reach out, sharing excitement, photos, discoveries. Friendships form through forums and shows. Knowledge flows freely. That connection becomes priceless, because coins bring people together across borders and decades, reminding everyone that value is not just measured in currency, but in curiosity and collaboration. For those still searching, remember the specifications: diameter 30.6 millimeters, thickness 2.15 millimeters, weight 11.34 grams, composition copper nickel clad, unless the gods of minting smiled upon your luck and gave you silver. Instead, look for the missing copper stripe along the rim, that solid silver edge that sings when tapped lightly. Listen for the long ring silver hums, while clad dulls. That melody can be the sound of your future. So test carefully and never dismiss a simple coin until proven ordinary. Study the grading scales too. Mint states 60 to 70 proof, like deep cameo designations. Each step on that ladder multiplies price. Understand how Peaky's photographs and encapsulates coins. Learn the submission process, the costs, the turnaround times, and the insurance coverage, because professionalism in submission attracts respect in sale. Collectors recognize diligence and reward it with trust. And as technology evolves, grading companies experiment with digital fingerprints, holographic tags, and blockchain records, ensuring each slab remains tamper-proof. The next generation of numismatics will live in both physical and digital realms. But the heart will always remain tangible metal shining under light, reminding humanity that history can be held. Now take a moment, close your eyes. Imagine the coin resting in a museum case, your name engraved on a small plaque beneath it. visitors whispering awe, children pressing faces to glass, historians discussing, metallurgical reports, photographers capturing the gleam. That image will travel across magazines and screens, inspiring new collectors to start their journeys. That inspiration is your legacy, the continuation of passion that began with curiosity and ended with legend. And as we near the close of this chapter, remember that every great collector begins with a single act, looking closer at what others ignore. Somewhere in America, a box of old mint sets still lies untouched, perhaps in an attic, perhaps in a thrift store, perhaps in your own family, waiting for eyes patient enough to see the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. The next $15 million discovery may already exist, just waiting for recognitions. To every viewer of World Rare Coin, this is your invitation. Start searching, weigh your halves, study your edges, learn your luster. Respect the art of grading and share your discoveries with the community. Like this video if it sparked your curiosity. Comment your favorite Kennedy year and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because every week we unveil new mysteries hidden within American currency. The stories you hear here are more than entertainment. They are maps guiding you toward your own discovery. And as this tale closes, remember that the 1984 P. Kennedy half-dollar is more than silver, more than value. It is proof that miracles hide in mistakes, that patience turns metal into fortune, and that every coin collector is part of an unbroken story stretching from the first mint strike to the next discovery. Keep watching, keep learning, and never stop believing that the next coin you hold could be the one that changes everything forever.